Hello, and welcome to another episode of Rewriting Reality. I am Shiraz, your reality interventionist, and today's a little different because I am cat sitting for a friend, so I'm at her apartment. It is about 30 degrees outside, which is about 88, I think, Fahrenheit, and there is no air conditioning. So I put on a nice shirt, which is coming off and going back to a t-shirt right after this show. And also, the internet went out. So everything's being streamed via my phone. And first of all, isn't this an amazing world we live in where I can get internet off my phone onto my laptop and run a show from it? So we're gonna pray the connection holds. There's been no internet I've used so far. 30 gigs of data off, and I've got 120 gig data plan, so I still got plenty left. But 30 gigs of data so far in the last 3 days. It's about 10 gigs a day. I didn't realize I consumed that much. And I have an amazing guest. Karen Gray is going to be coming up in just a little while. We'll be having a great conversation with her. And for those of you who don't know how this show works, is my guests come on, I introduce them, they talk about why they do what they do, and then they coach me. I get free coaching on my show. This is what I love about my show. And that's one of the reasons this show is only every month, because when I get coached, I actually take the time to implement the coaching. If this was a weekly show, I would just be overwhelmed with all the coaching I'd be getting. Then we flip it around because I'm not just here to take, I coach my guests. I use energetic magic. We cut through some beliefs and blocks that they have in their business or their lifestyle, and things go. And it's going to be interesting because Coach Karen specializes with women entrepreneurs, and I'm not one of those. So let me just tell you a little bit more about her. She's an intuitive leadership coach who blends ICF Mastery level training with corporate expertise and over 55 years of life experience to offer personalized and transformative coaching. Her journey from self-doubt to confidence and empowerment shapes her unique coaching style, guiding individuals to discover her innate greatness. With Karen, you'll discover more than a coach. You'll find a trusted friend, cheerleader, amplifier, and advocate celebrating your victories and supporting you every step of the way because you deserve it. So we'll see how this coaching goes. I'm assuming what works for women, what works for men. It's just that men are more stubborn and women take it in easier, but we're going to find out. So let's bring on Coach Karen.
I love that. Yes, you're right. Men are more stubborn oftentimes, but not exclusively. But thanks so much, Shiraz. I appreciate being here.
Oh, glad to have you here. And what we got here? And not we're not. Okay, here's the thing. Before we get started, I've had so many people talking about Mercury retrograde, and I've heard this over the years, and I'm like, no, not in my reality. No Mercury retrograde. Electronics don't mess up certain times. Then 5 people talked about it last week, and suddenly the internet is down. My mail went down. My website went down. It's been a mess. And I'm like, you guys got in here. You got in here, and now I'm manifesting this Mercury retrograde stuff. So, and welcome.
Thank you. I am so excited to explore this coaching with you and see what comes up. So,
Me too. So before we get to that, tell the
yeah.
audience what got you to where you are.
Well, we had the opportunity to talk a little bit about this on my show, the Brock Movers, but I started coaching with pageant girls. Kind of stumbled into it. An unfortunate situation. My daughter was competing and her coach was killed in a car accident.
Ow.
And so I jumped in to help. And through that and helping a few other girls, I fell in love with coaching. And I feel like my purpose found me in the middle of all that. And it just organically grew and evolved. I was a financial advisor at the time, so in a totally different industry, totally different world. But I loved that I could tap into just the energy of being present, because I am a heart-centered servant, and I love helping people to experience things, to have just transformations. And so I love doing that with my financial clients. But then I saw that some of these same struggles that my financial clients were having, with confidence over their money, things about their, I think we lost Shiraz. So I'm just going to keep going. Oh, no, there you
I
are.
was just giving you center stage.
Well, you were gone. I couldn't see you. I was like, okay, we're just going to roll with it and going.
I'll keep it right here. I was spotlighting you so you tell your
Thank
story.
you. Thank you. But I did see this overlap. And it wasn't just exclusively with the women, but primarily with the women, where they had created a story in their head that their parents had been broke, their parents weren't confident, their parents weren't this, or they were taught not to feel that way. And so I saw it with them. I saw it with my daughter. I saw it with other girls. And it really triggered some responses in myself about my own past. And so I went in and did my own healing, did the work, got coached, got supported, and then began to use those transformations to help other people. And so it just organically grew and evolved into this opportunity. And when 2020 came around, my position that I had at that time was eliminated because it was client facing and public serving. And so my 3-year plan to go full time with my business was elevated or escalated into, we're going to do this now. And I've never looked back. I've been full time coaching and serving in this capacity ever since.
I love how we make plans and we have our schedule, and then nope, that's not the schedule at all.
Yeah. Yeah. We love saying, we make plans and God laughs. He's like, that's so hilarious. So.
All right. So it's unfortunate how this all started, but it turns out it's working really well for you.
Yeah, it has turned into a huge blessing. And I'm trying to adjust the lights. Mine looks really fuzzy for some reason, but
No, you look good here.
I look okay. All right. It looks really fuzzy on my end, but if you see it good, then we're good.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. So, yes, and here it is. Life is what happens when you're busy making other plans.
Seriously, yes, that is so true.
And so, when we talk about you coaching, confidence, success, empowerment with women, can you give me an example of a transformation you've had with one of your clients, the one that you're really proud of?
Yeah. Well, I mean, several come to mind, but I'll use one that is recently happening right now. So I have a mastermind group. It's called Worthy Women Mastermind. And in that group, one of the beautiful women came in just really beaten up by life. She had lost her position, took it very personal, took it to mean that she was a failure because she had only been in that position 8 months from a previous layoff, and was really feeling very, very, very down and really depressed about herself. And through our conversations and this, a changing, because I believe everything starts with our thoughts and what we make them mean, and then the energy behind them and how we make that a feeling and emotion and action, on and on. She had this story that all of this had happened to her. All of this was meaning something about her value, her worth, and her ability to provide for herself. And so through our conversations, she now sees it completely different. So what was a situation of she had this job for 6 months, in the middle of this opportunity, she had a horrible health crisis and had to have neck surgery. It could have been life altering. And what we've been able to reframe is, look how God just actually orchestrated this situation so that she was protected during that 6 months. She had insurance, she had an income. And once she was healed and back and ready to work again and serve her purpose, that position had served its purpose and was gone. And just that shift of being a victim and this is happening to me, I'm out of control, I'm unworthy, to this is happening for me, I'm protected, this is exactly why I had this position, and now I'm able to do the next thing. That mind shift has absolutely escalated her confidence. So now she feels like she and God are in on this, she's got it covered, she's very valuable, and she served her purpose for that company, so she doesn't feel like a failure about that. And it's literally just walking through those daily practices and those mind shifts and beginning to capture the things that we say and the words that we use and the stories that we make, and taking those captive and reframing them. So that's a real world example. We just had a second follow-up call about that today. So that's the first thing that came to my mind.
So what kind of advice would you give to women? Because sadly, it's not uncommon to feel
Yeah.
like the world is against you and there are no
Mhm.
opportunities and everything just keeps going wrong.
Sure. Yeah. I think that you have every right to believe that.
Mhm.
And then I would pull the old Dr. Phil thing. How's that working for you? Um, it's a choice. We all have a choice to determine how we see things. It can feel very personal. It can feel very much like it's me against the world and everything's happening to me. And this is a horrible situation. And when we go to look for proof, we will find it. It's all there. You will have justification for everything that you believe. And so if you seek to find good in the world and beauty in the world and affirmations of your worth, your confidence, your value, how you're held, how you're protected, we can find those things. Even if it's just in, God's provided me a phone. I have a phone. So look how protected I am. I can call anybody in the world. I have this phone. Something as simple as that, right? We can change it into a positive. And it's all about the intentions that we set, um, the beauty that we seek to find, we will find, or the ugliness we seek to find, we will find. So literally the power is in your head and what you choose to focus on. I hate to delineate it to something so simple, and that's like, Karen, okay, you don't know my story. True, I don't, but you don't know mine. And yet I still choose to believe this.
Okay. And one of the things I always say to my clients is the secret to life is really simple. It's not easy,
It's not
but it's
easy.
really simple.
Yes. Yes, that is. But sometimes it can be that easy.
Mhm.
Sometimes we really choose to make it super difficult because if it was easy, wouldn't everybody do it?
Mhm.
And the truth is, we tend to make things hard because if it's not hard, sometimes it feels like we're not earning it because we're in this hustle grind culture where everything has to be hard and we got to work for it. And if it was just a choice, and if it was just a decision we got to make, then what? Oh, wait, now I'm accountable for all my thoughts. Now I'm accountable for everything. And I can't sit here and say this happened to me. Okay, what does that mean then? Like, holy crap. Now everything, my finances are my fault. My attitude is my fault. The disease in my body is my fault. Yeah, you get a choice. So what do you want to choose? So
Mhm. And you
I know I
also,
hate to slap you with the truth today, y'all, but here you go. It's with love, I promise.
I think the other thing that's added into that equation is there's all these people that look how hard I work to achieve everything.
Mhm.
I feel so proud. And if you take away the hard part, then they're sitting there going, well, like that was just easy. Do I deserve this
Yeah,
now? I didn't work hard.
yeah, yeah. So I love to live in the land of and. Yes, and, right? Yes, and we get to labor. We get to labor in love and we get to work what we would say we get to work hard. We get to really focus and put our energy into something that's worth it. And there are times that we just get to see the simple things of life and just see the easy. So it's not that you never have to work. It's not that you never have to grind or get up and be disciplined and go do all the things that don't feel easy and good. I'm not trying to say that, But what I am saying is that you can choose to see this as hustle, grind, everything's hard, everything's killing me. Like I get up and, it's going to be a crappy day. Yeah, absolutely. Because you just decided it's going to be. Or I get up and, okay, today I'm going to work really hard and it's going to feel very fulfilling. Everything I do is going to feel really fulfilling because I'm working towards a goal. Yes, that will be the results you get. So yeah, you get to hustle. Yeah, you get to work. I love working. I work probably way too much, but it's because it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a passion.
I think that's the difference between work and inspired action.
Agreed.
Yeah. So you talk about there's going to be stuff that shows up in your life and you can choose to make it bad or choose to make it good. Has there been something in your life where you were in that space and you weren't choosing it to make it good and you pulled yourself out of it?
Lord, how much time do we have to talk today? I could give you a list. Like, let's start with my birth. I was adopted, or I was orphaned and then adopted. So we could start there.
Okay, let's start there.
So yeah, I could see that as, and I chose, once I realized I was adopted or found out I was adopted, I chose to see that as meaning something very, very destructive, very hurtful. I saw myself as unwanted, unloved, unprotected, unsafe, and saw myself as a victim and felt like in my head that I had to be perfect. I had to please everyone around me, because if I didn't, they might abandon me also, right? I had this detachment and abandonment wound that was so primal and so deep that I became this consummate people pleaser and would jump through hoops to keep people happy. Sacrificed myself, made horrible life choices to do that. And what ended up happening is I became very fearful, very bitter, because I was always giving and people didn't reciprocate. When a relationship got to where I felt like at any time they might leave me, I was out. So I was constantly, I've been married 4 times. So yeah, I mean, it really was something that I chose to see as bad. In my late 30s, after 3 marriages, 3 divorces, I was coaching my daughter and starting to see all of this popping up about my insecurities, my feelings that were similar to all these girls, and started doing the work and realized that the adoption my mother made, I could take away the anger and the bitterness and see that she made the best choice she could to protect me with love. And that the adoption happened for me to put me on this life trajectory so that I could be here, right now. And I loved who I was beginning to love who I was, not hate. I loved my kids. I didn't want to change that life. And once I had a life I didn't want to change and began working on me instead of finding more people that were more broken than I was to fix, to stay distracted, that was super fun. I began to see that, okay, this is all orchestrated for me, and I'm able to use all of this, everything that I'm learning, to help others. What if this is exactly where I was supposed to be? What if this was exactly the path I was supposed to take, to be this person, to live this life? And what if my mom was just almost like an actor in my life's play, fulfilling her role?
Yeah.
And that this is exactly what was supposed to happen. And that changed that perspective, whether that's true, whether that's not, whatever you believe, just that potential and that perspective, and seeing it as in, this is what was supposed to be so I could be who I am, to serve and do what I'm doing, changed everything. I began to see everything is happening and being orchestrated for me. And then it became, okay, I'm now co-creating this with God. Like me and God are conspiring against the rest of the universe, not the universe against me. And that shift allowed me to see things from a new perspective, a new lens, without resentment, without anger, without bitterness, without fear, and just a curiosity of, well, what could happen next? What else could it be? And what else could happen based on, okay, this feels really crunchy and the edges are rough and it's not so comfortable. Okay, what am I supposed to learn here? How am I going to grow through this rather than feeling like all of this heaviness is happening to me? So, long story, even longer, that's really my experience and how I took something that has been tremendously detrimental in my past through my lens to being something tremendously beneficial. And now I have this level of empathy and understanding and sensitivity and love for broken people because I get it. I mean, we're literally all broken in just different ways.
And it's just a reaffirmation that even as a coach, you need coaching.
1,000%, yes.
And
Yeah. I mean, we're all living on this earth in these little bodies that, we're doing the best that we can, but I can't see an outside perspective from inside my own head.
Yeah.
And so we need that reflection. We need that reference and the mirroring back. And, just something as simple as what I heard you say was this, is that what you meant? And I was, I've had those moments with my coach and it's like, no, that is not what I want. I didn't even catch myself that I said that or that I was believing that or, whatever it is. So yeah, I feel like as a coach, if you don't have a coach, it's almost like you're in denial of the power of what you're doing. Like you don't even, it's a doctor not taking his own medicine, right? So I feel like every coach should have a coach or more. I have two. And so I believe that, yeah, practice what you preach, and we all need that.
Yeah, I recommend to everyone, do not work with a coach that does not have a coach. Because even the top coaches in the world have coaches. They just work with each other at that level. So.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it doesn't, because you have a coach, because you're getting support or because you're in therapy or whatever, it doesn't mean you're not able to help others. It actually means you're able to and more equipped to help them better.
Yeah. And the thing I really picked up on there when you were talking as well was that in the act of coaching other people, we have these aha moments for ourselves. Like, oh yeah, wait, this isn't just about that person now.
Yeah. Well, it's like everything else, you learn something and then you learn it to a deeper degree as you teach it or as you, utilize it. So there's book knowledge and then there's application. And then there's, when you're actually teaching it and applying it in a different way to communicate it and duplicate it with others. So it just adds those extra layers when you're practicing what you preach and sharing that.
All right. Well, we have come to the part in the show where I'm about to get coached by Coach Karen.
I love it. So do you have something that you would like to get coached on today? Is there something specific on your heart or mind?
And
you can't say, no, we can't do this. That's not fair.
Well, the thing that popped up is all this electronic stuff coming up, but I don't know if that's an area we want to look at or more into the business area.
I'm open to going where you want to go. So,
okay.
Is there a belief that you have about this technology? Because I heard you say about the retrograde.
I've always had the belief that a retrograde does not affect me, but it so powerfully hit me in the last week. With my website's gone down twice. I've an email go down. I was on with tech support at least 5 hours in the last week. Yeah. All right. And now, I'm streaming from my phone because my friend's Wi-Fi decided, while he's here, I'm just not going to work. So.
And how has that changed your perspective about what retrograde could mean, how it could affect you? What does that mean to you?
I don't think it's actually changed my perspective on retrograde. It's it's really made me think, did I let these people get into my head?
Mm,
Like, I believe we're creating everything. So
yeah.
somehow I let them get past my defenses. And so I can manifest this just bizarre, weird technology thing for about a week now. So
And what would that mean if someone got in your head?
that would mean I'm not holding strong to my beliefs as I should be.
Is that true?
I hope not. So one of like what pops up for me was when I was in corporate, I used to get 25% raises year over year. And I thought that's what everyone got because I was in software and it was the height of the tech industry. And then I was talking to some of my buddies at work, and they said, and I was saying, I love how this company gives us 25% raises every year. And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, this is how much raise we get. They go, no, we get 4%. I'm like, what? I said, yeah, 4%. And that's above the industry standard. So what's the industry standard? They said 2%. I'm like, 2%.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't inflation 3%? Like, how do people live off that? And so we called other people and we said, and we kept asking, like, don't tell us how much you make, but what's your average raise? And it was pretty much everyone saying 4%. And then the next time raises came around, I got 4% because I let the majority of people break through and create my reality.
So in this case, if you let him change your perspective on that, what would that mean about what else is possible for you?
But what else is possible?
Mm-hmm.
In a good way or a bad way?
That's your decision.
Well,
why are you judging it as good or bad?
Well, because if I let other people's opinions about struggle and have to work hard and all that get into my brain, that's not going to end up well for me.
So there's some past experiences with that, like with that job that you just gave that example?
So at that job, I wouldn't say I worked hard, but I would work intensely and I would get that pride. Like I'd pull an all-nighter at a client's place and I'm like, man, look what I just pulled up. And I don't want to get pride out of pulling all-nighters anymore. I'd rather just work a few hours every day and have a big impact and make some money.
So isn't there any fear or concern attached to this belief that people perhaps allowed you to give more power to the retrograde belief or philosophy than in the past? Therefore, it could bleed over into other things.
Yes, that's the fear, exactly.
Okay. So is there something you want coaching around with that? Or where do you want this to go
So
today? What do you want to come away from with?
How do I strengthen my resilience to a whole bunch of people telling me how it is, and stay in that place of, no, that's your reality. That's not my reality.
Do you have an example in the past where you've done that? Been able to resist and stay?
Well, I've done it for Mercury retrograde up until last week.
And what was the difference?
The difference was just physics, like the physics of how much impact a planet that far and that small could have on electronics on this planet. It's negligible. The moon would have a bigger effect than Mercury. And there's no moon retrograde going, well, the moon doesn't rotate, so it can't.
So have your technology ever gone down before?
Yes.
So could it be that it's a coincidence and that you're making a story where there isn't one based on the stories that other people have shared, and now you're correlating them and giving them power where there isn't.
It could be, yes.
So what would that mean in that case?
That would mean I'm creating the story that their stories are overriding mine just because of coincidence.
And how would that feel differently?
That would be better, because then they don't have that power and I'm just being silly. And I don't mind being silly.
Which would you prefer to believe? Which one aligns with the result you want?
I would prefer to believe that it's just coincidence. At the same time, I teach that we create everything in our reality.
So could both be true?
So the coincidence occurs and then I lock it in as that I'm creating. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
So who has the power in that case?
So I have the power, but when the first incident came up, I gave up that power.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
So going forward, is there a way that you can live in, I call it the land of and, where it can be true that some people are greatly affected by Mercury retrograde?
Yep.
That there is power in the planetary rotations and astrology and gravity and the pull of the moon and the planets and all those things.
Yep.
And sometimes our technology is affected, and sometimes we make it more than it is, and we all get to choose how we see that, how we're affected by it, and what power we give it. Could all that be true at the same time?
Yes.
So tell me, based on your lived experience with what you know, what do you want to believe, and what do you want to give power to going forward?
I want to give power to I'm creating everything. And people can have their experiences. It doesn't have to be mine.
And how will you anchor that in? How will you, when I say anchor,
Yeah.
I'm sure you know, but let's clarify it for someone that may not. How do you associate that with either a thought, a sensory, like a tangible thing, or an experience that you can go back to say, here's my proof, or here's how I'll remember this?
Mm-hmm.
So that when this feeling comes up again, I can go back to my anchor and recall.
So I would have to anchor in a past experience of people complaining about retrograde when everything for me was fine.
And what happened during that time?
I just found it amusing. Because people were saying, and this doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and this doesn't. I'm like, oh, my stuff's working fine.
Yeah. So if someone wasn't aware of Mercury retrograde, had never considered Mercury retrograde, and their life is not changed, does that change the fact that Mercury retrograde can be powerful for some people?
No.
So if they can both exist at the same time, can your thought and this other person's thought both exist at the same time?
Yes.
And situations?
Yes.
Could that be your anchor?
That my thought and their thoughts exist at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Your reality, your thoughts, this other person who doesn't know about it at all. So you know about it, choose not to give it power. This other person doesn't know about it, can't give it power because it doesn't know it exists. And this other person does and gives tremendous power to it.
Okay.
Can they all of these timelines, experiences, existences coexist?
Yes.
So in this moment, what do you need to feel differently about the technology, the retrograde, and what's happening for you?
What do I need to feel differently?
Mhm. Do you need any proof? Do you need things to change? Or can it be a decision that I'm just going to decide that this isn't what I believe, or whatever your story is that you want to make?
I guess it could be a decision that
Mhm.
I'm just in this story, and I can easily get out of this story of all the stuff going bad.
And what if the internet doesn't change? What if the technology doesn't change? What does that mean about your belief?
Oh, that's an interesting question, because I'm leaving in a couple hours, so I'm going back to all the technology working.
So could it also be that this was happening for you to have a technology break, gave your brain a break, or to see, to give you proof of how resilient you truly are, how powerful you really are? Because even though it happened and it was challenging, we're still here.
Yeah. And that could be another thing, and both actually, to give me the break, and just to show that it doesn't matter what happens in my life, I'm just going to keep going.
Yeah. So the true power is in your resilience and in your co-creating the scenario that you believe to be true and powerful and important, which is showing up for your community. And you did that, and you found a way, and you made a way, and it's all true, all at the same time.
Okay.
How does that feel?
That feels better.
Okay. Anything else you want to believe or to feel about that?
No, I think good.
Okay. Thank you for trusting me with that.
Thank you.
I've never talked about technology in retrograde before, but that was a fun one to walk through, because it truly is scientific, physiological, and we make a story about it. So
Yeah.
I love that. Thank
All right.
you.
So we are going to take a very quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to be coaching Karen. So we'll see where that takes us. So be right back.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments that matter. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
All right, we are back. And for those of you who don't know how this game is played, we're basically going to flip things around. We're going to talk about something that's going on with Karen. And when I talk to you, I can tell when your conscious beliefs match your unconscious beliefs. So if Karen says something like, I'd like to make a lot more money, I might say, nope, you do not. Let's find out why you don't.
Oh, God.
And then we'll start digging to find out what the underlying stories running through your subconscious are. So it could be that you have a belief that if I make lots and lots of money, people are going to come up and say, can I have some, Karen? Can you invest in my business? Can you give to my charity? And you're like, I don't want to have those conversations. So your mind says, you know what? If we don't make the money, we don't have to ever worry about having those conversations. Problem solved. So once we find out what the story is, I will say something like, are you willing to step out of the story that you have to limit your income so no one asks you for money? And if you say yes and you mean it, and I can tell if you mean it, then it shifts in that moment. We're actually rewiring your neural pathways with that affirmation that, yep, I'm done. This is over. And when that happens, there's also a release in energy. Now, when energy shifts around me, I tend to yawn and cough. So expect that for the next little while. And if Karen, if you've ever done this kind of work before, you know what your body feels like as shifts occur. And the fun thing is, if for the people at home watching live or watching the replay, this works when you say yes too, because you're the one doing the work. I'm just guiding you to the belief that needs to be shifted. So Karen, what do you want to work on?
I love what you just said about money.
Okay.
Because I do want to make more money. I feel like the more money I make, the more I can help. But there is a block there in levels.
Okay. So yeah, when you said I do want to make more money, it did not come up true. So let's look at that.
Okay, people, have grace. Yeah. So where do we go?
So where do we go? What's involved with making more money for you?
So I'm sure part of it is being seen, being valuable, being the working hard part, right? Because that's a thing that we say, gotta work hard. And sometimes I feel like there's no more hours in the day because I do work a lot and I love it and I don't want to stop working.
Okay.
But an hour doesn't equal $1 when you're an entrepreneur.
Exactly. So do you have to work hard to succeed?
No, I've seen people that don't. So I know that that's not true.
Okay. It may not be true for them, but we're checking.
Is it true for me?
You.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel with that because I think there's a conflict. I believe it to be true, yet I know it doesn't have to be.
Okay. So then let's start right on the surface there. Are you willing to step out of the story that you have to work hard to succeed?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, because the truth is you have to be willing to work hard to succeed, but not necessarily have to do the work. So will you feel like you deserve the rewards if you don't put in a ton of effort?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's coming up true.
Yeah, if you haven't earned it, you don't deserve it. Yeah, there's some.
Okay, you're quoting someone. Who taught you that?
I don't think it was taught by words, but more so by example. Okay. My dad worked 3 jobs growing up, my adopted dad, so that my mom could be home with me.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of his story that if you haven't earned it, you don't deserve it?
I would love to.
Okay, that's not actually moving yet. If you make money easily and effortlessly, are you disrespecting your dad?
No, I don't believe that to be true. But I do believe that I am not an example for others that I see.
Mm.
Like I'm not maybe measuring up to their success because they've, they have done the hustle and grind. They have put in the work. They have built the machines and the businesses and the things.
Mhm.
And so would I be that level if it weren't for doing the same? Like, do I have to follow in their footsteps? My assumption of what their footsteps are.
Okay. Are you willing to step out of the story that you have to live up to their expectations?
Yes.
Are you willing to step out of the story that you're being a bad role model if you're not working hard? Ooh, there's so much resistance coming off you right
Yeah. Wow. That was I felt that one like
now.
like the brakes came on. I don't want okay, yeah, there's a big one there. Holy
There's a big
moly.
one.
Yeah, so the idea that bosses are bad,
Mhm.
bosses make all the money, but bosses are bad and they don't do any of the work.
Okay. So you have to
Yeah,
make sure no one perceives you as a boss.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And as a lazy boss who didn't do the work, who
Mhm.
got put in that position, right? They haven't put in their time.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that could come from a couple different places, but yeah, that's a belief for sure.
Yeah. I just want to go back to where was it? With corporate experience and over 55 years of life experience.
So yeah, 55. So I'm 55. So I don't have 55 years coaching. Let's just
No, I got with life experience. I got it. I'm just saying, don't you think you put in the work?
Lord, yes.
Okay, so
yeah.
I think you've accumulated enough at this point.
Yeah. So is it enough? Do I believe it's enough? Maybe that's the question. Yeah, I do believe that I have. I mean, I've done a lot. So yeah.
Okay. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to continue to work really hard to be a good role model?
Yes. Yeah. I'm writing these down. These are good.
Okay. The other thing that's going on is you're worried about what everyone's going to think of you.
For sure. Yeah.
Right. So there's going to be some people that think, oh my God, like she's got it so easy. She hardly works and she makes so much money and that sucks. What, she doesn't know what the rest of us are like and how hard we have to work just to make a little bit of money. And there's going to be a bunch of people that are like, oh, wait, we could do that? I didn't know we could do that. Oh, thank you, Karen. Thank you for showing me I could do that.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing is, you want to deny the second group inspiration because you're worried about the first group being upset.
Yeah, no, I don't. Okay. For sure.
So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to live up to other people's expectations of you?
Yes. Struggling, but yes. There's also something you said about people will ask me for money, and I had never thought about that. Mm-hmm. But now that I'm seeing more, I have had a lot of people ask me for money.
Okay. How do you feel when that happens?
I feel guilty for saying no.
Okay. So the two biggest emotions our mind tries to avoid are guilt and shame.
Yeah.
So your mind will do whatever it can to get out of that. So if they're already asking you for money at the level you're at, your mind's going to be like, we're not going any higher. We're going to stay right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I have people from Uganda, like women from Uganda asking me to support their businesses. And I don't know them. I don't know that they're legitimate. I don't know who they are. And I feel horrible that I even doubt them.
So
what if it's legitimately a mom that needs help?
Yep. And we have to go back to what you were talking about is what if you chose not to feel that way?
Yeah.
Right. So when you can say yes or no without guilt, then that block on your income goes away and you can start making a lot more. The fear people have is, well, if I don't feel guilty for saying no when people are asking me for money, I can become a universal dick. Like it's just, but that's,
Yeah. Does that mean I'm a bad person? Sure.
yeah, but that's not who you are, right?
True.
You'll just say, well, no, I mean, for me, I have a specific bank account called charity, and a percentage of my income goes in and fills up that account and fills it up and fills it up. And then when something comes up that I go, ooh, I like that, then I look how much I have to in that account, and that's what. And I never anymore. It's that account. Like I budget it this way, and it's not something I do on a regular basis. It's like whenever I feel inspired. So sometimes someone does something, I look in there and there's $50 in there. But sometimes someone does something and there's $5,000 in there. I'm like, okay, no, I'm not going to give them all 5. I'll give them 2,000. Right. So, and then it just becomes this thing that here's where I can just give.
Yeah. That's beautiful.
Thank you. So, are you willing to step out of the story that when you deny people's requests, you have to feel guilty?
Yes.
And are you willing to step out of the story that you have to limit your income so no one asks you for money?
Yes.
Ooh.
Big ones.
Yeah, those are big ones. How's that feeling?
That feels really good. Yeah, that feels like I really didn't realize that was anything attached or driving. Like, wow. Yeah.
Okay. It still feels like there's a little bit around your dad. Do you have to make money the way he made money?
No.
That's not actually coming up true. Will he love you if you make money easily and effortlessly?
Yeah.
See, that's not actually coming up true. So I know you get this consciously, but I think the little girl in you is trying to get daddy's approval. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to make money the way your dad made money?
So when you say the way he did, we could be
hard.
Working. Okay. Yes.
Working hard,
yeah.
Multiple jobs, all that.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Because he was very much a blue collar, heavy equipment operator. So I was thinking, like, yeah, I don't.
No, not physically. I just mean putting in lots and lots of effort all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there is probably that. But yeah, I definitely want to.
Oh, there it is. Do you have to sacrifice for the people in your life?
Do I have to what?
Sacrifice for the people you love.
Yes.
There it is. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
So remember, if you have to sacrifice, you have to create conditions in which sacrifice is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have to sacrifice, then you can create a life where there's never any need to sacrifice, and everyone gets everything they want.
Damn. Yeah, no, that rings true.
Yeah, because I could see your dad sacrificing a lot to take care of you guys.
Yep.
That's the story.
And that's what a good dad is, right? A good parent sacrifices.
Yeah.
So somehow, subconsciously, that is attached really intricately.
It is a very common story for parents, and it's not you sacrifice; it's you're willing to. That little shift changes the whole dynamic. So are you willing to step out of the story that you have to sacrifice for the people you love?
And that I get to be willing to, but I don't have to sacrifice. Exactly. Yes. That thought
Yeah, that needed to come out.
Yeah. Yeah. What a shift. I love that. That's really powerful.
It's interesting when you see it play out, because sometimes people are just trapped in it and they're creating these lives of sacrifice. And
Mhm.
sometimes people get into the competition of it. And you may have seen this, where the parents are together and like, you wouldn't believe what I had to do in order to get, to afford all the baseball equipment. It's like, oh, you think
Mhm.
that's bad? Listen to what I had to go through. And then you unconsciously create more and more of this stuff so you can have these conversations with people and win in the struggle game.
Yeah. Yeah, I struggled more than you do. I win. I'm a better parent. Yeah, I
Yeah.
I have heard those conversations. I've probably been a part of those conversations. So, yep.
Okay.
Okay,
Cool.
that was amazing. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for coming on. If people would like to get in contact with you, how it's in the show notes, but tell them anyway.
Yeah, so super easy. I'm everywhere on social media and my website, coachkarengray.com, and it's gray with an A if you're listening to this and can't see it. But yeah, Coach Karen, KarenGray.
All right. And just before we go, coming up this week on the Breakthrough Show, Stretch It Out Every Day is happening. Oh, so Stretch It Out is happening every day at 7 a.m. This is all Eastern. And I think you can kind of guess what happens during Stretch It Out. I don't think I need to explain that much. Our flagship show, the Breakthrough Show, is on Friday at 1 p.m. Spirit Sessions happens Sunday at noon, and a Magical Melody Sunday at 6 p.m. Plus, if you're in the community, you can go to Brittany's Creative Consultation Hours throughout the week. That's on art and everything creative. We have Soul Saturday coffees every Saturday at 9:30 if you want to come and meet the host of the show and hang out and have coffee with us. And throughout the week, we have craft circles, pottery workshops, Pomodoro sessions, and more. And if you don't know what a Pomodoro session is, that's where everyone gets together and they work and get all the stuff out of the way that they keep saying they're going to work on, but they never actually do. I refer to them as get shit done sessions. And oh, look, we're getting some compliments here. And Karen, I could listen to your voice all day.
Oh, thank you.
You do have
Thank
a
you.
very soothing voice.
Well, I make custom meditations, so if you want to listen to my voice, hit me up and I'll make you a meditation. You can have it on replay.
All right. Cool. And so
Thank y'all.
before we head out, do you have any final words for our audience?
Oh my gosh, I think this has been so powerful and such a beautiful example of how important our thoughts are, and how just those subtle shifts can change everything. So having that outside perspective, so the power of coaching and having someone to help you make those shifts is just such a gift. So thank you for yours and for allowing me to share mine. And I just encourage anyone that's listening, if you run across this and you don't have someone that's supporting you, to please look into Shiraz or with myself and have someone to hold you in that safe space of accountability and reframe.
All right. Yes. And thank you so much for coaching me. I always appreciate my coaches. And that was a great session.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Breakthrough Show. The Rewriting Reality will be back next month, the 4th Monday of the month at 3 p.m. We're heading out. See you again soon.